Good morning, everyone. In this video lesson, we are going to study about terms and definitions related to antennas. The various objectives that we are going to learn in this lesson are: we can know about antenna gain, directivity gain and directivity, beam width, front to back ratio, antenna impedance, and antenna polarization. In the last class, we have studied about principle of antenna, radiation resistance, radiation pattern, antenna efficiency. Let us summarize what we have studied in the last video lesson. An antenna is a device which is used to convert RF power applied to its feed point into electromagnetic radiation. An electronic communication system consists of a transmitter, receiver, and communication medium. In some communication systems, the transmission medium is a direct link between transmitter and receiver, such as wire, cable, fiber optic cable, etc. In radio communication systems that are for wireless applications, there is no direct connection. The system is wireless. The modulated signal generated by the transmitter is sent into free space and is picked up by the receiver. The process of radiating the signal into space and receiving it are the functions of an antenna. So for wireless application, we require antenna. Antenna is a structure capable of radiating the signal power at the sending end. It is a structure capable of receiving the electromagnetic radiation at the receiving end. For wireless application, we require antennas. One at the transmitting antenna for radiating purpose, the other antenna at the receiver for receiving purpose. An antenna is a structure that is capable of radiating or receiving electromagnetic waves. It is generally a metallic object such as wire or collection of wires used to convert high frequency current, that is modulated signal, into electromagnetic waves and vice versa. Transmitting antenna is used to couple the space to the input of the receiver. Antennas are employed in different forms. So we have different types of antennas. We will discuss in detail about each and every type of antennas. So the primary purpose of an antenna at the sending end, it is used to convert the RF modulated power applied to its feed point into electromagnetic waves, intercept the energy from a passing electromagnetic radiation, which then appears as RF voltage across the antenna's feed point. This function, second function, is at the receiving end. Any conductor through which an RF current is flowing can be considered as an antenna. Take a wire. When we apply a signal, it acts as an antenna. Any conductor that can intercept an RF field can also be an antenna. That intercept RF field means it is converting the RF signal, electromagnetic radiation, into signal. It is also an antenna, receiving antenna. In two-way communication, we require antennas, for one for reception, other for transmission. But for some applications like radar, we require the same antenna for both transmission as well as reception. The antenna converts radio frequency electrical energy fed to it through a transmission line to an electromagnetic wave propagating into the space. The physical size of the radiating element is proportional to the wavelength. So size of the antenna is proportional to the wavelength. The higher the frequency, smaller the antenna size. The reason is when we take half-wave dipole, the length of the antenna is lambda by 2. So there is a relation between frequency and lambda. Frequency equal to F equal to C by lambda. Frequency is inversely proportional to lambda. As the frequency is higher, lambda is less, and the lambda by 2 is also less. The size of the antenna is less. This is the basic principle of radiation mechanism through an antenna. An antenna may be thought of as a short length of a transmission line. So we have a transmission line like this. And this sending end, we are applying the modulated signal. It is passing through a transmission line. When high frequency alternating source is applied at its one end, the resulting forward and reverse traveling waves combine to form a standing wave pattern. Some waves are going in the forward direction. Some waves also will be coming back. So a standing wave pattern is generated. However, all the forward energy is not reflecting. When we open it, it will not be reflected. So they are escaping from the system and thus radiated in the form of electromagnetic waves. These are the electromagnetic waves radiated into the free space. The electromagnetic radiation from the transmitting antenna has two components. One is the electric component. The other one is the magnetic field component. Both are perpendicular to each other, and the direction of the propagation of this electromagnetic wave is perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. An electromagnetic wave is horizontally polarized if its electric field is horizontal. Thus, an antenna fixed horizontally produces horizontally polarized waves. Similarly, when the antenna is vertically placed, it can provide vertical radiations. The amount of energy that is radiated into space by a transmitting antenna is extremely small unless the wires of lines are suitably oriented and the lines of lengths are made comparable to the wavelength. If two wires of transmission line are opened up, so these at the far end they are opened up, then there is less likelihood of cancellation of the radiation. They will be radiated. There are two poles, therefore we call it as dipole. Antenna is effectively a piece of transmission line bent out and open circuited at far ends. Such a length has low impedance and the end connected to the main feeder transmission line. This in turn means that a large current will flow at the input of the half-wave dipole and efficient radiation will take place, and we can make use of the Maxwell's equations to calculate the energy radiations, electric field and magnetic field, etc. And this is the radiation principle. When we apply the modulated signal here, this is the half-wave dipole as we have seen. The length is lambda by 2. And there is a impedance matching here with the dipole and the free space. And therefore, this energy is converted into electromagnetic waves. And if it is lambda by 2, it is covering this distance lambda by 2, and they are escaping into the space as we have seen in the last class. So we also studied about the half-wave dipole whose length is equal to lambda by 2. This two poles are there, and the total length is lambda by 2. When we are applying the electrical signal, modulated electrical signal at the feed point of the antenna, this is the EM wave. This is the electrical signal having a negative side voltage and positive side voltage, and they will be radiated into the space. So a half-wave dipole antenna receiving power from a radio waves, when it is used as a receiving antenna, the electric field of the wave pushes the electrons into the antenna elements and charging the ends of the antenna alternatively positive and negative. So when it is acting as a receiving antenna, the electric field pushes the electrons into the antenna elements. These are the antenna elements, and charging the ends of the conductors here, positive charge and negative charge here. Since the antenna is a half wavelength long at the radio wave frequency, it excites standing waves of voltage and currents in the antenna. So it produces voltage and currents in the antenna. These oscillating currents flow down the transmission line. It flows down to the transmission line into the radio receiver. So here R is represented as a resistor, but it is applied to a receiver where the picked up electromagnetic energy, which is converted into electrical signal, is applied to the radio receiver. We can receive we can demodulate the message signal back. This is the basic principle of half wave dipole when it is acting as a receiving antenna. And this is the radiation principle we can show here. Transmission line, it is bent like this. When electromagnetic electrical signal is applied, modulated signal is applied, it is trying to escape into the free space, and then these electromagnetic radiations are passing through the space, through the free space. So we will define in detail about the antenna gain, power output in particular direction, compared to that produced in any direction by a perfect to omnidirectional antenna. So it is the gain of an antenna. Power output in a particular direction. So output power we are radiating in a particular direction. When it is compared by a perfect to omnidirectional antenna, that is nothing but an isotropic antenna. We also studied what is isotropic antenna. It is an antenna that is capable of radiating power in all the directions equally. It is a standard antenna which is used for comparing the other type of antennas. So antenna gain, if I take a power gain, then power gain of an antenna is defined as the ratio of the output power to the supplied input power. So power gain of an antenna is defined as the ratio of output power to the supplied input power. And hence power gain equal to output power by input power. And there is a relation between antenna gain and effective area. Gain of an antenna equal to 4 pi by lambda square into AE. Lambda equal to C by F. So when you substitute here lambda equal to C by F, then we are getting it as C square comes here and F square goes to the numerator. 4 pi F square into effective area of the antenna by C square. So effective area, it is the area of an antenna. It is defined as the ratio of the power available in the antenna terminals to the power per unit area of the approximately polarized incident wave. So we have the another term of an antenna, that is effective area. Effective area is AE. It is defined as the ratio of power available at the antenna terminals to the power per unit area of the approximately polarized incident wave. So it is in turn depending upon the gain of the antenna, gain equal to 4 pi by lambda square into AE. G is the antenna gain, A is the effective area, F is the frequency, C is the velocity of light, 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second, lambda is the wavelength. If you want effective area, this formula can be written as A equal to lambda square by 4 pi into G. Gain of the antenna equal to 4 pi by lambda square into effective area, or effective area equal to lambda square by 4 pi into Z. So we can also calculate the gain of the antenna in terms of the directivity and efficiency. You will define directivity and efficiency later. Gain is equal to directivity multiplied by the efficiency. Now we will define what is directive gain. Directive gain, it is one of the most important parameters of an antenna. It is defined in any particular direction as the ratio of power density radiated in that direction by the given antenna to the power density that would be radiated by isotropic antenna. Isotropic antenna is always the reference antenna. Let us take in one particular direction. We want the directive gain. Directive gain is always measured in terms of a particular direction. Directive gain in any particular direction, it is the ratio of the power densities. Which power density? One power density in that particular direction by a given antenna. The other power density that would be radiated by isotropic antenna. If we take this ratio, then we will be getting the directive gain. So directive gain in any particular direction, it is defined as the ratio of power density radiated in that particular direction by the given antenna to the power density that would be radiated by isotropic antenna. So directive gain equal to power density of the given antenna divided by power density of the isotropic antenna that is radiated in that particular direction. It is always associated in that particular direction. So once again, if we define directive gain in any particular direction is defined as the ratio of power density radiated in the direction by the given antenna to the power density that would be radiated by an isotropic antenna. Isotropic antenna is an antenna which radiates energy in all directions equally. So directive gain equal to power density radiated by given antenna divided by power density radiated by isotropic antenna. Both power densities are measured at the same distance. So distance is same. They are measured at the same distance and both antennas radiate the same total power. Note that the directive gain is the ratio of power densities and is therefore it is a power ratio. The first step in determining the power gains of a given antenna would be the measurement of power density in the required direction. So we need to calculate the power density in a desired direction by the given antenna. That is the first step. The next step would be to calculate the power density from an isotropic antenna radiating the same power. Secondly, what we have to do, we have to calculate the power density from isotropic antenna radiating the same amount of power in that particular direction. Then what is the final step? The final step is to take the ratio of these two powers. So directive gain of all practical antennas is greater than unity. It must be greater than unity. The reason is in the denominator we have power density by isotropic antenna. Isotropic antenna radiating power in all the directions equally. That is always higher. That term is high. In any particular direction, the power radiated is low. Power density is low. Power density is high. In a particular direction, the density is high, and therefore this ratio is more than unity. Since the power is distributed in all directions equally, isotropic antenna, the power radiated is distributed all directions, so power density is low. The denominator value is low, the numerator value is high. Hence, for all practical antennas, the directive gain is greater than unity. Now let us define directivity. The maximum directive gain is called as directivity of an antenna. So when we calculate the directive gain, if it is maximum, then we call it as a directivity. So it is represented by the letter capital D. Directivity of isotropic antenna is 1 dB, 1 or 0 dB. The value is 1. When we take in terms of dBs, 10 log base 10, 1. Log 1 is 0, so it is 0 dB. Directivity of Hertzian dipole is 1.5. Elementary doublet antenna we have seen in the previous lesson. It is an Hertzian dipole. Its directivity is 1.5. Directivity of off-road dipole is 1.64. The directivity is increasing. When we want more directive gain, the maximum directive gain in a particular direction. So the directivity should be high for directional antennas. And we have the formula gain equal to directivity into efficiency of an antenna. So radiation efficiency we also define. It is defined as radiation distance divided by radiation distance plus loss resistance. So once we calculate the efficiency and we calculate the directivity, then we can find the gain of the antenna as gain equal to the product of directivity and the efficiency of the antenna. Gain, if it is not mentioned which type of gain, we always take it as a direction of maximum radiation. We always take it as a direct gain if it is not mentioned otherwise. See in this diagram is showing the radiation pattern. Radiation pattern is a graphical representation of the field with respect to direction. So we have this direction here, 0 to the 360 degrees direction. This is the electric field shown. This field is maximum in this particular direction. Gain is maximum in this particular direction. Whereas gain is minimum in all the other direction. These are the nulls. The gain is low. In this direction, gain is almost 0 in the opposite direction. It is for directional antennas. Those antennas are capable of radiating power only in one particular direction. Because in most of the applications, for example, point-to-point communication applications, we require a transmission of power from one end to the other. So that power to be radiated totally to the receiving side. The other side, it should not be radiated. That is the purpose of the directional antennas. Now let us define the beam width of an antenna. Beam width of an antenna is the angular separation between half power points on the power density radiation pattern. Let us take the radiation pattern. If it is the power density radiation pattern, what is the power density radiation pattern? It is the graphical representation of power density with respect to direction. Take the half power points where the power, our half power points are the points where the power is equal to maximum power divided by 2 half power points we are getting. So then we can take the angular separation on that power density radiation pattern. That is called beam width between half power points. Beam width, it is also defined as the angular separation between 3 dB points. These half power points, sometimes we also call it as a 3 dB points on the field strength radiation pattern. When the radiation pattern is field strength pattern, that means we are drawing the field strength of the antenna with respect to direction. In that case, then take the 3 dB points. How do you get the 3 dB points? The maximum field strength divided by √2 corresponds to the 3 dB points. Then we take the angular separation between the 3 dB points on the field strength pattern of an antenna. Okay. Now how we are defining the beam width? The beam width of an antenna is the angular separation between 2 half power points on the power density radiation pattern. It is also defined as the angular separation between 2 to 3 dB points on the field strength radiation pattern of an antenna at which the field strength falls 1 by root 2 times the maximum value. The maximum field strength divided by root 2, we are getting the two 3 dB points, the angular separation between those 2 dB points, 3 dB points, we call it as a beam width. Sometimes beam width is also calculated between nulls. Beam width between the nulls. Nulls are the minimum energy points. Nulls are the minimum energy points on the radiation pattern of an antenna. Sometimes we also calculate the beam width between the first nulls. Beam width between the first nulls is the angular separation between the first nulls of an antenna. Radiation pattern of an antenna. It is a measure of directivity of an antenna. It is an angular width in degrees. So we are taking the separation between the angular points. So it is angular width in degrees. It is measured on the radiation pattern between points where the radiation power has fallen to half its maximum value. If it is a power pattern, it is fallen to 1 by root 2 times the maximum field when it is a power field strength pattern. So beam width, it is also between half power points, beam width, power beam width. It can be 3 dB beam width. And this diagram is showing the beam width representation. Suppose this is the radiation pattern of a particular directional antenna. And this is the peak value of the radiation pattern. Then this maximum value from here to here, this is the maximum value. This maximum value divided by root 2, if we take, we are getting a value here. Then draw a line corresponding to this, and this line is extending on the radiation pattern on either side. These 2 points are called 3 dB points. These are the 3 dB points. Now we are getting the angular separation between the 3 dB points. This is called a 3 dB beam width. I repeat, first calculate the electric field in different directions of a particular antenna. Then draw the radiation pattern with respect to direction. Then we will be getting the radiation pattern like this for a particular antenna. Now measure the maximum value, that is called a peak value. Measure the peak value. So 3 dB beam width, it is related to peak. We are getting 2 peaks. How we are getting the 2 peaks? It is based upon maximum field strength we have divided by root 2. Then we are getting the 3 dB points here. This maximum value is this divided by root 2. We are getting here. Then draw a line here. It is striking the field strength pattern at the 2 points. These 2 points are called the 3 dB peaks, peak 1 and peak 2. And if we take the angular separation between these 2 3 dB points, we call it as 3 dB beam width. Now let us define front to back ratio of an antenna. It is the ratio of power radiated in desired direction to the power radiated in the opposite direction. So it is a power ratio again. It is dimensionless, it is power ratio. How much power that is radiated in desired direction divided by how much power that is radiated in the opposite direction. It should be very high because in the desired direction only power should be radiated. In the unwanted direction, there should not be any power radiated. So this front to back ratio, it is related to the power radiated in the desired direction divided by power radiated in the opposite direction. Higher the front to back ratio, better the antenna system. Why high front to back ratio? The total power, whatever we are radiating from an antenna, it should go in the desired direction. In the unnecessary direction, unwanted direction, the power should not be radiated. Now let us define antenna impedance. It is the ratio of voltage to current at that point, at any given point in the antenna. Let me take an antenna at a particular point. What is the voltage at that particular point, and then calculate the current at that particular point, then take the ratio between voltage and current to get the antenna impedance. So the important aspect of antenna impedance is the impedance at the point where the transmission line carrying RF power from the transmitter is connected. Since at this point input to antenna is supplied, hence it is called as antenna input impedance. Since at this impedance, the RF power from the transmitter is fed, so this is also known as a feed point impedance. At this impedance, the transmission line operates, so it is also known as driving point impedance or terminal impedance. Thus, antenna impedance is of considerable importance because it is generally desired to supply maximum available power from transmitter to the antenna or to extract maximum amount of receiving energy from the antenna. Impedance offered by an antenna to the transmission link can be represented by two-terminal network. So what is a two-terminal network? It consists of resistance and a reactance given by the formula impedance Z equal to R plus Jx. So R is the self-resistance or radiation resistance. X is the self-inductance of an antenna. And antenna impedance depends upon how much antenna is located above the ground, that is height above the ground, the influence of surrounding objects and other atmospheric objects are dealing with the antenna location. Quarter wave antenna with a near perfect ground exhibits a nominal input resistance of around 36 ohms. Half wave dipole, the nominal value of antenna impedance is 75 ohms. A half wave folded dipole, when the antenna is folded, it is offering a impedance of 300 ohms resistance. So this parameter is also very important. When the antenna is folded, we are getting more impedance. This 300 ohms impedance will be perfect matching to the space impedance. Space impedance is 277 ohms. So folded dipole will be better coupled to the space compared to half wave dipole and quarter wave monopole. This is lambda by 2 antenna. Its radiation resistance is 73 ohms. Antenna impedance is 73 ohms. And the antenna is folded like this. It is folded. It becomes 300 ohms. 4 times 73. More impedance. This impedance is a perfect matching to the space impedance. Thereby, maximum power can be delivered to the space. The another important parameter is the polarization of an antenna. An antenna polarization is relative to the E field of an antenna. When the electric field is parallel to the plane, parallel polarization, horizontal polarization. If the electric field is horizontal, then the antenna is horizontally polarized. If the electric field is vertical, then the antenna is vertically polarized. So we have polarization, very important concept. It is referred to as the orientation of the electric field radiated from it. In which direction the electric field is oriented. Whether the electric field is parallel or perpendicular. Whether the electric field is vertical, then it is vertical polarization. If the electric field is horizontal, then it is horizontal polarization. No matter what polarity we have chosen, all antennas in the same RF network must be polarized identical regardless of the antenna type. That means the transmitting antenna, when it is vertically polarized, it radiates vertically polarized EM waves. The antenna at the receiving end must also be vertically polarized in order to pick up that vertical radiation. There are 3 types of polarizations, namely linear polarization. Linear polarization, there are again two types, vertical polarization and horizontal polarization, elliptical polarization, and the third type is the circular polarization. Vertical polarization and horizontal polarization comes under linear polarization techniques. So basically polarizations are divided into three types: linear polarization, elliptical polarization, and circular polarization. Linear polarization is further, we have two types: vertical polarization and horizontal polarization. Types of polarization, let us see about the linear polarization. We have plane polarized wave. So what is a plane polarized wave? When the antenna is plane polarized, it radiates plane polarized wave. That means electric field is propagating perpendicular to it. There is a magnetic field perpendicular to both electric and magnetic field. There is direction of propagation of the wave. So we have the wave passing like in this direction, and different waves passing in different directions. When the antenna is placed vertically, there are vertical waves are passing through it. And when we take magnetic field in this direction, the electric field in this direction, the electric field is propagating like this. When the antenna is placed vertical, there is a vertical movement of the electric field. So we have the direction of the propagation always perpendicular to the direction of both the electric and magnetic fields. Types of polarization, we have horizontal polarization. This is the direction of the propagation. The electric field, it is moving like this. Horizontal, it is moving. This is direction of propagation. If this wave were approaching an observer, its electric vector would appear to be rotating counterclockwise. This is called right circular polarization. It is right circular polarization. It is moving right. And we have circular polarization. It consists of two perpendicular plane EM waves. Those EM waves are equal in amplitude. So EM waves produces equal in amplitude, but there is a 90 degrees phase shifting. Plane of the oscillation rotates around the propagation axis. So there are two EM waves perpendicular to each other, both equal amplitudes, but 90 degrees phase shift. Maybe circularly polarized right circular or left circularly polarized. So let us take the helix here. This principle is used in helical antenna, where we can get the circularly polarized waves. When the electromagnetic wave is applied at one end, it is covering vertical movement. It is also covering horizontal movement, vertical movement, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So it is producing vertical, horizontal radiation combinedly. We call it a circular polarization. Now we have the electrical polarization as shown in the diagram. The waves are moving in an elliptical shape. See the diagram, the waves are moving in a form of elliptical shape. So elliptical polarization consists of two perpendicular waves of unequal amplitudes that differ in phase shift by 90 degrees. The phase shift is 90 degrees. They are perpendicular EM waves, but they are unequal in amplitudes. This type of the resultant electric field vector describes an ellipse in any fixed plane intersecting and normal to the direction of the propagation. So we have circular and linear polarization. These are the special cases of elliptical polarizations. And this diagram shows all the types of polarizations: linear, circular, elliptical polarization. In linear polarization, if we take vertical, antenna is placed vertically. Electric field is passing vertically like this. This is positive half cycle of the electromagnetic wave. For negative half cycle, the polarization. Vertical but in the downward direction. Upward direction, it is direction of propagation is perpendicular to both electric field and magnetic field. The same concept here, electric field is there, magnetic field is there. There is a direction of propagation perpendicular to both electric and magnetic field. But the path followed by the wave is circular. So two waves, one wave and other wave, equal in magnitudes, differ by a phase shift of 90 degrees. They produce a circular polarization. One horizontal wave antenna producing horizontal polarization, vertical antenna producing vertical polarization. If the two AM waves are equal in amplitude, if they are phase shifted by 90 degrees, then we have circular polarization. The path traced out by the wave is circular. Elliptical polarization, it is also very much similar to circular polarization, but the two waves are unequal magnitudes. One wave produced by vertical antenna, the other wave produced by horizontal antenna of unequal magnitudes, but phase shifted by 90 degrees here. So the curve or path traced by the wave is in the form of ellipse. It is following the path of the elliptical. This diagram shows three-dimensional view of the linear polarization, circular polarization, as well as electrical polarization. See, this is linear polarization. We have only vertical waves are shown here, whereas vertically the movement is there, horizontally the movements are there, horizontal movement is there, vertical movement is there. The two waves are passing equal magnitudes, both vertical and horizontal. Here also vertical, there is horizontal radiation, vertical radiation, but unequal magnitudes are passing through it. The curve traced by the path followed by the electromagnetic wave is in the form of ellipse. Here it is in the form of a circle. Here it is a linear, a straight line. Method of generating polarized waves. The position of the antenna determines the type of the polarization of the waves. Vertically positioned antennas produces vertically polarized waves, and horizontally positioned antennas produce horizontally polarized waves. So if the antenna is placed vertically, it produces vertical polarization. When the antenna is placed horizontally, it produces horizontally polarized waves. So medium wave broadcasting makes use of vertical polarization. In order to receive the maximum signal, the polarization of the receiving antenna must be same as that of the transmitting antenna. Both the polarization should be same. Transmitting antenna should be same polarization as that of receiving antenna, so that there is a maximum reception of the signal strength. Uses of polarized waves. Medium wave broadcasting uses vertically polarization, so that ground wave propagation we can make use of vertical polarizations. FM radio broadcasting commonly uses horizontal polarization, producing a signal that can be received by horizontal vertical antennas. The circular polarization is commonly used in electrical antennas to receive the VHF, UHF, and microwave signals to the ionosphere. Most widely used communication for circular polarization is the satellite communication. Also makes use of circular polarization. There, the antenna tracking is done with the help of circularly polarized waves. This is the structure of the vertical. Antenna is placed vertically. Vertical movement of the electric field. The electric field is vertical to the ground. That is maximum gain in the direction of the vertical. This is horizontal polarization. Antenna is placed horizontally. The maximum electric field is in the direction of the ground. That is in the maximum gain towards the ground. Then we have the circular polarization. Plus 45 degrees, minus 45 degrees, covering the circle path. We have one horizontal polarization, vertical polarization, both perpendicular to each other, equal magnitudes. Elliptical polarization, we have vertical polarization, horizontal polarization, but unequal magnitudes. They are perpendicular to each other, but unequal magnitudes, so it is possible. Then we have the quantities dVd and dVi. dVd is the term related to half-wave dipole. We have the radiation pattern of isotopic radiator is circular. Radiation pattern of half-wave dipole is figure of 8. If we consider isotopic radiator, circular, and this is figure of 8. Figure of 8, it has got 2.15 dB higher than the circular radiation in a particular direction. And hence 0 dBd is equal to 2.15 dBi. This is the value 2.15 dBi, that is corresponding to 0 dBd. Summary: in this lesson we have studied about antenna gain, antenna directivity, beam width, front to back ratio, antenna impedance, antenna polarization. Antenna gain, it is output power by input power. Direct to gain, it is the radiation in a particular direction by an antenna when compared with the isotopic radiator. Directivity is the maximum directive gain in a particular direction. Beam width is the angular separation between the half power points. Front to back ratio, it is defined as the ratio of power in the forward direction divided by power in the reverse direction. Antenna impedance V by I, voltage by current at a particular point of an antenna. Antenna polarization, it is the orientation of the antenna. When the antenna is vertically polarized, it produces vertically polarized waves. When antenna is horizontally polarized, it produces horizontally polarized waves. So after listening to the lesson, let us summarize. After summary over, let us answer the quiz questions. The product of the directivity and efficiency of an antenna is equal to gain of an antenna. Gain equal to directivity into efficiency. Radiation distance of half-wave dipole in free space is how much? It is 73 ohms. The gain of the half-wave dipole is dash 1.641. Frequently asked questions. Explain the basic principle of operation of antenna systems. Define radiation pattern, polarization, and beam width of an antenna. Define antenna gain. Define directivity and direct to gain.